Bang. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte, sponsored by Voyager. Today is Wednesday. We got a lot to talk about today. Once again, it's just me today. CJ and John will be back tomorrow, but because it's just me, I'm going to keep it quick and dirty today. Going to do some TA on Bitcoin, some TA on ETH, look at Bitcoin dominance, and then give you guys my Doge of the day. But first, I want to start out with some news, and this is some house news. A lot of people in the chat are excited about this. So this morning, Market Rebellion and Voyager announced that we are forming an online broker platform for equities, options, and futures trading. Really exciting news. Obviously, we've been partnered with Voyager. They sponsor this show. And we're really excited to kind of bring a new way to empower traders. And that's through equities, options, and futures trading. So really excited about that. Our partnership with Voyager through crypto has been great. So really looking forward to expanding that into equities, options, and futures. But yeah, let's hop into Bitcoin because there's plenty to talk about today. Even though we haven't had too much crazy price action in the last 24 hours, what I mentioned yesterday, the importance of this 20-period moving average, is still holding true today, right? Yesterday, I talked about the importance of what would happen if we broke below this level, the possibility of maybe retesting 47K. Now you can see we broke below this level, but are working our way back up to retest it. I wouldn't feel confident entering a long trade right now until we close above this level. But either way, I don't think that right now is a great time to enter a long trade. We're hitting this resistance at the 20-period moving average at around 55.8K. And, the volume today doesn't look all that strong. So if we don't break above this level, we don't close above this level, I do think a reversion back to 47K is likely. I just want to quickly point out the 4-hour chart to you guys because I think this is interesting as well, and it's telling a bit of a different tale than what we're seeing on the daily chart. And with the 4-hour chart, we kind of bottomed on this TD sequential 9 right here. And for me, this was an interesting development because typically, like I mentioned, when we cross below this 20-period moving average, like we saw yesterday, we're in for an extended period of bearish price action. This happened very quickly. We got 9 consecutive candles of bearish price action on the 4-hour chart. And it seemed like people were kind of content with buying around 52K. Not sure if that's the result of buy orders that were placed around this level to capture any dips, or if this was just people that, were waiting to dollar cost average into Bitcoin at a more reasonable price. Either way, I do think that buying at Bitcoins at 52K is a great buy, even if it does retest 47K. That's a minor pullback, and you don't always have to buy at the exact bottom in order to be profitable. One thing that I get asked about a lot is the influence of Bitcoin dominance on Bitcoin and the whole market in general. So I want to talk about that because we're approaching levels that we haven't seen since 2018. So Bitcoin dominance has slipped as low as 46% this morning. Like I mentioned, the lowest since 2018, 3-year low for Bitcoin dominance. And the question I get asked a lot is this a bearish indication for Bitcoin or is it a bullish indication for crypto? And I actually think it's the latter. I don't think it's necessarily bearish for Bitcoin. In fact, I am still holding my Bitcoin. I don't plan to sell, even though I'm anticipating a further decline in Bitcoin dominance. I think Bitcoin can trade sideways and still lose its Bitcoin dominance percentage because of injections of new capital into altcoin projects. And that leads me on to ETH. I want to talk about this because this is exactly what I'm talking about. I think Bitcoin dominance can continue to fall while Bitcoin's price stays sideways and the rest of the crypto market is actually lifted up because of this injection of capital into sectors other than Bitcoin. And we saw this yesterday. The company Mogo bought $405,000 worth of Ether and plans to allocate up to 5% of their cash into crypto. This is really interesting in my opinion because, it makes sense when you do this with Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin serves the store value purpose. We've seen companies like MicroStrategy and Tesla put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, but we haven't really seen too many companies do it with Ethereum. And, this for me is an interesting development. I think it's definitely not the last, but I don't know if Ethereum, this is the right way for institutions to play Ethereum and just by buying it and putting it on their balance sheet. Bitcoin Maximus will say that this isn't the right move for them because it doesn't fit that same store of value ethos. But in my opinion, if you are if this asset has speculative value, a lot of people are predicting 100K year-end price, then it makes a lot of sense to allocate some of your cash into crypto because it's going to provide a very solid return. So Mogo, very ahead in this adoption of Ether as putting some of their cash reserves towards it. And I think other cryptos will follow suit, or other institutions will follow suit rather. And they may branch into other cryptos as well. Right now, it's just Bitcoin and Ethereum for the most part, but we've seen, Grayscale Trust pop up and VanEck ETF pop up for assets outside of just Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've seen it for Polkadot, Monero, assets like this. And I do think that eventually institutions and companies will look to diversify their cash reserves into some of the more downstream alts. But I do want to talk about Ether, and I want to give you guys some quick TA because this is a really interesting one. And in my opinion, we're kind of approaching a bit of an interim top here. And just bear with me. I want to explain why. Yesterday, I talked about the importance of this divergence between the 20-period moving average and current price, whether it be to the upside or the downside. Whenever we get this much divergence, it's typically an indication that a correction is imminent. We also got some confluence yesterday because we topped on this TD sequential sell 9. That in conjunction with the 3,500 price point creates a very strong resistance level here. So I'm expecting a bit of a reversal here in ETH. And let's just take a look at the 4-hour chart because I want to see what the 20-period moving average is telling us on the 4-hour chart here. So looking at this, let me flip back to the daily chart real quick. See, there's lots of divergence here between the current price and the 20-period moving average. But on the 4-hour chart, we're much closer here. And I think this could tell the story. Look at this volume down here. Declining volume, pressing up against this 20-period moving average, both bearish indications that we may be in for a possible interim reversal. So I talked yesterday about how the volume is going to be the key for Ether. And today it's not looking that encouraging. I don't think there's too many buyers that are willing to step in above the 3,200 price point just because of this new price ceiling at around 3,500. It does seem very strong. So don't be surprised if you get a bit of reversal. If you are someone that has rode this wave up, consider taking some profits. That being said, full disclosure, I do hold ETH. I took some profits at 3,500, but I plan to continue to hold ETH. It's definitely going to be part of my investment thesis for the long term. So I'm holding strong. And people have been asking me when to take profits. Consider doing it now. Maybe just wait for confirmation on this 4-hour chart with a candle close below this 20-period moving average. But other than that, I think that ETH is looking a bit overbought, and this volume is just not encouraging in my opinion. But that's all I got for Bitcoin and ETH. So let's get to everyone's favorite part of the show, and that is the Doge of the day. Today I have one that I haven't talked about really at all, I don't think. CJ had this as one of his Doges of the day a couple weeks ago, and I like where this one's at, and that is Band Protocol. Band, B-A-N-D. It's tradable on Voyager. I'm looking at it here in our platform. This is the chart in the market rebellion room. And I first want to bring to your attention the sentiment data from our friends over at tradethechain.com. So that's down here. You can see relative tweet volume up over 100%, relative trading volume up over 135%. If John was here, I'm sure this metric right here of the trading volume would have him very excited. But, I talk about how I always look to enter assets that have corrected after making a previous all-time high and have since then shown some relatively good strength following that major correction. And Band fits that bill. It corrected very sharply, a 50% correction all the way down into the $13 range. But now it's showing some strength and it's climbing back up. It's got this 20-period moving average below it. There's a bit of a divergence here, so don't be too surprised if it sees maybe a little bit of a correction today back towards this moving average. But ultimately, I like its chances of breaking above its previous all-time high of $23.17 by the end of next week. I think that it's shaping up well because of the fact that Ethereum is due to correct I think a lot of that capital from Ethereum could flow downstream into these altcoins like Band Protocol. So look for assets like this. Look for assets that are creeping up after a correction towards that previous all-time high, because I think that correction with Ethereum, if it does happen, could provide a lot of new capital for people that are invested in the altcoins. One last thing I'll leave you guys with. A lot of people in our community were talking yesterday about whale alerts and the fact that lots of Ethereum is being moved off of cold storage into exchange wallets. Historically, a very bearish indication that people are taking their capital off of these cold storage where it's been sitting idle and moving it into hot wallets on exchanges typically means that they're looking for some sort of action. So be on the lookout for that. Watch for massive moves in ETH and watch for spikes in the altcoins. I think right now is a very good time to enter some altcoin trades. So look out for these technical signals. Look out for increases in trading volume, increases in tweet volume, and like I mentioned, run-ups to that previous all-time high. But that's all I got. One last thing I'll leave you guys with is don't forget, check out our DeFi course. I just finished it this weekend, put some finishing touches on it. It's just a 20-minute video, 10-question quiz with a 5-6 page handout. Very introductory level. If you just are unfamiliar with DeFi, you want to learn what makes it unique, how it differs from traditional financial practices, and even how to get exposure into some DeFi assets, check out this course. And, we got plenty more in the Market Rebellion curriculum. If you're not yet a member, you can try it at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. Just $1 for your first month. We have a pro charting service, an ever-growing community of active traders, and we publish weekly trade insights with entries, exits, and stop losses. But that is all I got for today. This is the last time you guys will have to bear through an episode with just me. Like I said, tomorrow CJ and John will be back. But I'm expecting an exciting rest of the week, so I'm glad to have them back. Without further ado, I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again tomorrow.